and it's drama.
It's drama, and drama leads to more drama, and people all know, like, it comes back to what I'm saying, like, your life kind of involves what you look at and what you accept. Like, drama will come into your life, bro. If you continue to watch it and see it, when you watch stuff like that, your brain's gonna start to look at the things in your life that seem similar to that. So I say just limit it as much as possible.
You'll invite it. That is so true.
You'll invite it, so.
That is so true.
Yeah, bro. But going back to it, fame. If we were to get famous for this podcast, bro, I would be a lot off the grid. I'd be one of those I wouldn't say I wouldn't be on social media, because I feel like, of course, at our core, I feel like everybody kind of wants to, share things about themselves, share things and let people know, but I wouldn't want a lot of it.
Is it weird? But for me, tell me if I'm tripping or not, bro. Like, it's weird. Like, compliments. I have a good and bad relationship with compliments.
Why?
Compliments, they feel good, but is it me? Once you get too many, it's like, okay, I understand, bro. It's the subject. You feel me? That's the only thing I think about fame, like.
Yeah, I do feel like that, but that comes back to, like, people don't realize, like, you're a regular person, so. Yeah, you'll hear all those compliments all the time, and then I think that goes back to ego. You have to be able to, I feel like to be a good famous person, you have to be able to control your ego. Have to, because those compliments you always get are either compliments or negative comments are gonna get to you. If you can't control your ego, how you view those things, you can't possibly move through this life and everything you hear, you just let it take you somewhere. You feel me? I
do. One thing that I could say. We're going to do a show about this, too. Fame is like boxing, bro. Could you imagine being top of the world, the best fighter in the world, and then all of a sudden getting knocked out? How much turmoil to have in your brain? So imagine being famous, you're the top.
And that's why...
Boom, you lose it all.
You know what's crazy? And speaking on that, I feel like that's why child acting has a even more negative effect, because imagine from you 4 until you like 12, you the realest kid on TV, and then you become an adult, and they're like, we don't see where you fit. We don't see where you fit in to the acting world. You don't really bring what we thought you would bring. Not even bring what we thought you would bring, because we were using you as a kid. So now you trying to even be a lead role. We don't see that in you. Like, that would destroy some people. Like, I mean, it has destroyed people. And I even say,
bro,
like, really Macaulay Culkin, bro. I mean, I think he's making like a good bounce back, but like, bro, imagine being home. Like, you're the kid. Like, you're that kid. And then losing that fame,
bro. Raven-Symoné went through it.
Orlando, So
Britney Spears went through it, bro.
Almost all child stars have had very, very difficult middle age. That coming into age kind of time was very difficult for a lot of them.
Difficult, bro. And I feel like without that support system,
you're screwed. Honestly, even with the support system, so I watched the Harry Potter, the 20th anniversary. Bro, super good. Gotta watch it, bro. So Hermione was like, I always forget her name, Emma Watson, right? So she was just talking about like going through the show and how she felt. And she was like, in all honesty, she felt like she said she struggled with it. She said the fame was actually pretty hard for her, and then she felt like kind of alone going through that, compared to like Daniel Radcliffe and him, because like they had each other. She was like the only girl, like the only like, you know what I'm saying, famous girl dealing with that. So she said it was like really difficult, bro. So I
heard they have like fame therapists now. Like, I was watching Joe Rogan with Israel Adesanya, and he said like once after his first fight, when he got home, he didn't feel like himself anymore. So he had to get a therapist for that. Yo,
I feel like bro, honestly, I feel like everybody should have a therapist. Not have a therapist, but everyone needs to go to therapy. Like everybody has something they need to talk about. Everybody has something that's on their mental that kind of has them in that, that flux of like a good and bad state. This is one thing that, could like get misconstrued if I say, but obviously it's not a good thing that we don't go to therapists as much as we do. Black people in general don't go to therapists as much as we do. But I commend us for being able to like go through a lot of things we do and then kind of like bouncing back on our own. Like that's real strength. You feel me?
Is, bro.
But I feel like we should take that time, dissect the problems that you got, and if you need to go to a therapist, you need to go. Like, at some point in my life, I haven't been able to make that happen yet, but I want to go.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm vulnerable a little bit, bro. I ain't gonna flex. The other day, I was in the room and I ain't had the best day. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Right.
I was just emotionally just drained.
Right.
And I laid down in my bed. I'm like, you know what would feel good right now?
Right.
A cry. But I can't do it. Like, and being a black man in America is hard, bro. People understand this. Very true. Because a man, no matter the race, being a man in the world has somewhat been diminished or been what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to figure out the perfect word to explain what men, so like the way people see men now, mm-hmm. or in general as like the superior, right? Mm-hmm. But black men have never been the superior here in America. So like here in America, I was talking to one of my homegirls, right? And she's talking about men. Everything she's saying about men were like just terrible things.
Negative comments, right?
Right? And after the conversation, she's going to tell me, hour 30 minutes afterwards, I meant like white men, right? Now, in the conversation, you felt like you lost, or you wanted to, right. Come up with something else. But at the same time, you can't really put us in the same category as black men, because you don't compare to white men, Asian men, or European men here in the States, because we go through different problems.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So me going through everything I'm going through, I don't have the emotional, matureness to mm-hmm. even express myself, mm-hmm. or to even let my body just relax and just cry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Dang, that's real. That's real, bro. What I can say is, I feel like that is definitely true. And it also comes with like the kind of life that you kind of came up with. Like, mm-hmm. I feel like those things are changing now, and I feel like that's good. It is hard, like especially being a black man, like in America, like to kind of like have that vulnerability to like, or even be able to, like you said, like just kind of like let that go and like get a cry out. Like it's not easy. It's something that took time. I can say like, for me, it was just something I wasn't afraid to do. From a young age. Like it wasn't even like someone told me like it was okay or bad to. I mean, of course there's always that connotation throughout, the world that always said like, nah, men can't cry. Like, nah, you gotta hold that in, you gotta take it and like keep moving. But like for me it was just like, why? Like I was always a person who asked that question of like, why can't I? Like why should I not be allowed to? And I never associated like crying with like any type of femininity. Mm-hmm. Cause I can be real, bro. I cry every week, bro. Like to me, I'm not gonna say it always helps, but I mean, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it does.
Yeah.
But I think that just comes with like conditioning, bro. But like you said, like that's kind of the lifestyle we've lived here. Is like, nah, you can't do that. Like you gotta, thug it out. Sit there, like, and even when you want to, you feel like you can't.
Yeah.
So I feel like that just got to come from, like, these kind of conversations and letting people know, like, you can, bro. It's okay. Like, don't ever feel like crying is going to take away from you being a man. Like,
exactly.
That's people don't realize, like, that's a release. Like, your body does that for a reason. Like, it's to let something out. So that's big, bro. Like, I'm not going to say I wouldn't expect you not to, but, I mean, that's big. Like that is like, I don't think a lot of men had that conversation with other men saying like do you actually like cry on a regular basis? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. And like, that's the good thing about the kids in this generation now, or the men growing up in our generation now, is because especially for like the black community now is actually growing. And one thing that I would say, I think this native connotation of black men not having fathers or black boys not having fathers in their life is changing. A lot of us we want children, bro.
I want children. And luckily, I feel like it does come down to like, we were blessed to be able to grow up with two-parent households. We were blessed to be able to, kind of have that. So, I can't speak from that aspect of someone who didn't have that father figure, didn't have both parents in the household to kind of, like, show them both sides and show them, like, these are things that are okay. So I can see how that can be hard for a lot of people. But, at a certain point, it comes down to, like, your mind and what do you feel like would be right, bro. If you feel like you have to, cry and get it out, bro, get it out. If you feel like you need to go talk to a therapist, go talk to a therapist. Like, exactly. Don't ignore, like, things that you know about yourself are true. You feel me? So
exactly. Yeah,
that's all I can say.
If I have a son, bro, like, if he cries, I'm not going to be like, toughen up.
It's crazy because even now, it's crazy. Going back to, like, how we were just talking about that, like, it's crazy though. Even though when we grew up, were you ever told? We were told like, especially like, but it was always more of a trouble thing. It was always more like if I'm in trouble and like, you know, about to get a beating or something, and I'm crying, it's like I give you something to cry about. You feel me? Like, and I associated crying with pain at first, but then even then it was just like. Then it's crazy. I got to a point. I don't know if you ever like noticed this pattern. Now I'm making this connection. As I got older with that, I started laughing when I got in trouble.
Yes.
I don't know if that has and I do that now. Anytime I'm in a situation where I feel like almost like, man, I've messed up and like I'm being approached by somebody else or something like that, I start laughing. I won't even get the feeling of wanting to cry. Like I don't associate. I don't know if that's maybe like that connect that I've gotten from that, like that disconnect I've gotten from that. But that's crazy. I never really thought about it though. I definitely laugh a lot more in situations that are like more serious or more stern moments where someone's trying to talk to me sternly. I definitely laugh, even from my parents.
That is actually so true. I feel like a lot of us. I ain't gonna lie to you. It probably came to the age where like in my teen years, probably got my last beating.
Yeah,
I started laughing.
Honestly, it wasn't even then, bro. It was like, honestly, for me, I probably started laughing like when I got in trouble, maybe like 10, 11. And I was just like, bro, this is funny. Like, not even on the sense of it's actually funny. Like, I would literally be there and just like start laughing. Like, it was the only way I could get it out.
Is that coping?
Maybe, I feel like it is. I feel like that was a coping mechanism instead of like wanting to cry. Or even if not even wanting to cry, but even if I had to, or even in that situation, I would just laugh.
Just laugh. Yeah, bro. I went to the. I think we have to.
I feel like that, and I feel like, and it's crazy because that only would make proper sense as a coping mechanism. Because if you were to cry when something happens, what's the exact opposite? You will smile and laugh. Like that's the counteractive. So to stop from having to have those feelings, I feel like that's also why a lot of black people are comedians, are very good comedians at that too. Especially when it comes to talking about their life. Like a lot of black comedians talk directly about their life.
That nobody's really used to.
Yeah.
So is that like? It might sound crazy. Is this like? Is that showing somewhat of a psychopathic symptoms, bro? Us smiling, go through some certain things. Because like even when somebody like, if I get in an argument with somebody, or someone wants to like hurt me or something like that, or in general, I just laugh. And honestly, I laugh it off because I feel like I'm more content with myself, though. I feel like that's where that comes from. Because, like, bro, I fear nobody but God. Like, what did D-Hop say? Like, I fear nobody but God. So, like, that kind of thing, I feel like that just comes from, like, us being strong men in general. But, yeah, bro, like, I laugh a lot of that stuff off. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know if it's psychopathic, though. Like PTSD, maybe?
I think it's PTSD. I feel like everybody has some mild form of PTSD because how can you quantify what would give you post-traumatic stress disorder? How can you say I do or don't have it? I mean, of course, obviously a doctor can say whether you have it or not, but, bro, we all
do.
Our experiences are ours. So I was literally talking to my sister about that. Like, the experiences we have and what we consider to be trauma is only what we want to consider trauma as an individual person. Like, who's to say, like, if you were to tell me something that you went through in your life, who's to say I'm going to see that same thing as trauma? Or if I was to go through it, would I, feel the same way? You feel me? Or even if I didn't go through it, we wouldn't be, we wouldn't end up the people we are. So I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, it's just one of those things that happens. Like, I wouldn't consider it psychopathic. I would definitely say more PTSD.
Because, it's crazy. The other day I was thinking about this shit, right? I was telling myself, I was like, you know what? What if PTSD is really a good thing, bro? It creates a calluses in our brains for something else
it does.
For our next experience.
It does. Honestly, I don't know what I was watching, bro. It might have been just like a quick little video about another podcast, but he was just talking about like what memories are really for. And a lot of us will be like, we use memories as like trying to remember the past, or we use memories to remember the past, even though like most scientists have said like obviously they're not trustworthy because you can actually make your brain think of it. It's a thought, and when it comes to thoughts, your brain doesn't know negative. There's nothing like, if you were to tell your brain don't think about bread, it's impossible. Your brain will begin to think about it just because you've allowed that thought to enter your mind. So when it comes to memories, I feel like what he was talking about was that memories are actually meant for us just to gain information from some type of, event, or gain a lesson and then use it to move forward. But a lot of us will think of something and get stuck in that moment or stuck in that thought and continue to create a scenario through it. And that's where like memories kind of get dangerous. So yeah, I think it's more, I think it's memories should be used like lightly. It's crazy. It's hard to say, hard to think about, but I feel like a lot of people every day do it though, and they don't even know. So it comes from I think that comes from being able to help that is obviously meditation, stuff like that. Kind of using your brain to kind of control those pathways. So I feel like that's why I feel like people who meditate obviously just have a better grasp on stuff like that.
It was this quote, and I'm trying to see if I can get it right. So the same thing what you're saying. It was from Seneca. And something like, we suffer more in imagination than reality. So it was like, once I heard it, I'm like, you know what? Every time, even if I'm messing with a girl, right? And it'd be like, yo, she's not answering my calls. And then all of a sudden, I'm creating scenarios. In my head, I'm hurting myself. And I ain't even what's going on.
And don't even know what's going on. And that's mostly what people do. And then you'll call to a memory where something similar happened.
Instagram
also implants a lot of thoughts into your mind. People don't realize that. That's why I say limit the amount of content that you're getting from other people, or the amount of content that you're seeing, because it leads you to do things like that. It leads you to think like that. It leads you to your thought processes. So yeah, that's crazy. I feel like that happens all the time.
All the time.
Even minor situations, which then leads you to I'll sit up and have a whole thought, and it'll lead me to not want to do something that I knew I was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So that's something I'm working on daily, is trying to filter stuff like that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, bro.
Hey. That was real. Honestly, I don't even know what else I could really say about it. From what we talked about, from the fame to just our thoughts to PTSD to all, it all connects. From and limiting the kind of things that you let influence you. I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that's gonna come back to. I feel like to be famous, you have to be able to limit those voices, especially the voices that have an impact on your life. So again, if I was famous, no social media for me.
Social media? Would you have somebody for you? For business?
On the business aspect, I do social media, but I would have no personal social media anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Point.
No personal.
What did Jay-Z say? I'm a businessman, not a businessman.
Exactly. I don't want to, if I get to that point, yes, the biggest businesses are just names of people, but that doesn't mean you associate them with that person. You know what I'm saying? I don't always necessarily, I don't think of Procter & Gamble, the people, when I think of Procter & Gamble. So I'm going to be able to, I'm willing to be, let my name be famous, but I'm not going to be a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I respect that. I don't know. I respect that.
As you guys see the journey, and you can always come back to this video and see if my thought process changed, but I can't. Right now, where I am in my life, bro, where I am mentally, and I'm again gonna have a transparent moment, where I am, I couldn't handle it, bro. Mm-mm. I couldn't handle, it stressed me out too much.
It's too much, bro.
It's too much.
It's too much. And one thing that I would say, that fame creates addiction. So I was thinking about the other day, bro. Okay, hear me out, bro. It's gonna sound crazy. All being a human is balancing addiction, right? So good addictions and bad addictions. Good addictions, like the love to read, the love for a sport. Bad addictions, like stimulants, like drugs. Sex is a bad addiction. And going back to this, hear me out, bro.
Right.
This might sound crazy, but you gotta hear me out too. For instance, addiction can create a bad experience. I.e., for instance, a person, there's no virgin that rapes. You're not a virgin. A person as a virgin, you can't rape. You can't. There's no virgin rapist.
There's no. Yeah, that's not a. Yeah, not a thing. Those things can't exist at the same time. It's impossible.
A rapist is a sex addict. To become a sex addict, You're a serial. You have to have sex plenty of times. So could you imagine, for instance, right? There's these celebrities that people come out. He raped me. Some lie. Some people telling the truth. Could you imagine? I have sex with 1,000 women. 1,000 women.
Do you think all
one says no? You say no. That should trigger something. Mind you, I'm already a man. I'm a man and I'm an animal.
We're animals, right?
So that could trigger something. So now, mind you, before I continue, if the rapist, they should be neutered or killed. Point blank. Period. We don't need. I have sisters. I have a mom. We don't need them. What I'm saying is that you have to balance. Being human is part of being a balance.
And I feel like that comes with, and like you're saying, like, it's crazy, and we, of course, these negative things are like people that we talk about, like, we want them to be gone, but like like you said, it's balance. Like like them even existing is like balance to our society, like not necessarily in a good or not like in a good way or anything. I'm just saying like that is balance, like, and
at the same time,
it's crazy.
That's the thing, right? For me personally, there is no good and bad. There is no good and bad.
There is no such thing, because what would you would not know one without the other. That's always been my conversation. There is no good and bad, because it's all what we associate. And again, like it comes to personal things. Like, again, like, continue your conversation. I know it's kind of crazy, but do you think like a rapist thinks he's bad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna. Again, like, I can't just go off of like TV shows. Like, I don't want to just kind of like I don't know any type of like real scenario where I could like talk about it, whether I've seen one be like sympathetic or anything, but I don't mentally, obviously there's something off with them, so I don't even know if they think they're bad. So I think anybody who does something, horrendous, any type of crime like that, I don't even think they think they're bad, bro. I think they think they're following what they're supposed to. You know what I mean?
They're being human.
They're being human.
That's all they're doing. Literally.
But the mind can be molded and destroyed and rebuilt different ways, bro. I think most people who end up doing, obviously, comes from trauma. I mean, any person that would even consider doing something like that was born from trauma, was born from it. You feel me? So, yeah, that's just crazy. One
thing too, I was thinking about the other day too, like suicide, right? Anybody, you call people that commit suicide and be like, you're weak. Bro, you can't call somebody, and you can't call somebody
because it's by experience, and that's where I was talking about the PTSD thing. Like, how can you scale what someone views as trauma to them? How can you scale trauma? Like, how can you say this is small trauma, this is big trauma, this is like, how can you?
Can't.
Somebody falling down, like someone, like, for example, like somebody that plays a sport and they break their leg, they can never play their sport again, and somebody who got into an accident. They're different things, but how do you not know that person who broke their leg from playing a sport is not as traumatized as the person who was in a car accident, or you don't know that the person in a car accident is more traumatized than that? Like, it's levels to it. Like, you can't quantify someone's trauma and what it does to their brain, or what they feel like they have to do because of it. Can't do that at all.
Mm-mm. I went out with my homegirl to this restaurant, and we was talking. And telling me like, yeah, this lady that went to USC actually committed suicide recently. So RIP, I don't know her name. I'm sorry. I didn't know who she was, but she told me like she committed suicide, and she was actually a lawyer, and she actually did the pageants for the pageants, the merit. Pretty girl pageants. What are they called, bro?
Like for
Miss
Miss USA or Miss
USA.
Yeah.
So she did those.
Oh, dude, that's she was a cheerleader at USC. The girl, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she was Miss USA. Yeah.
She committed suicide, but it's crazy, right? People probably look into her life and be like, she's so lucky.
Her life was perfect.
We don't know what's going on in their heads.
Not even what's going on in their heads. You don't really know what happened in their life, bro. How many people honestly go out and really share the negative parts of their life? How many people really go out there and tell you the problems I was going through my entire life? Like, you don't know. And then when it comes to like, what we always associate when we see someone that looks good, we assume life's good. That's what we think. We think life.
Yes,
we think,
bro.
You look good, like, because what do we always say? Our looks are our first. That's our first
impressions.
First impression. So it's crazy, but you look at someone, and then who's to say? Honestly, I feel like I'm not. Obviously, this can be debated, but like people who look good, I feel like they're actually treated a little worse sometimes. because I feel like most people be like, "Damn, you must have the best life." So when I talk to you, like I'm almost gonna like demean you, or you know what I'm saying? People would treat you a certain way because they think you've been given everything because of your looks.
I assume that you're conceited automatically.
I assume that you're conceited because you just look amazing or something, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's definitely a big thing too.
Damn. Okay, let's wrap it up then, man.
It's been a good one.
A lot of clips of this one.
Right, it's gonna be a lot of clips. I know we kind of jumped around, talked about a lot of things. I feel like this was like a super candid episode. Yeah. We just wanted to kind of like sit down and have a conversation. Like, you kind of get to see our thought process about a lot of stuff, how we view things. Feel free to like skip around the video. Trust me, there's no part of the video where you won't hear something and get something out of it, I'm sure. And then comment any of your thoughts, any of your questions about what we talked about, anything you want us to talk about in the future. And it's been a Safe Route Podcast.
It's been a Safe Route Podcast. And like I said before, stay afloat by any means necessary. Work out and drink water and stay safe.
For sure.
Peace.